The road was silent except for the distant hum of engines breaking through the mist. 5 bikers, leather jackets glistening with morning dew, helmets reflecting the pale dawn, thundered down the narrow countryside road. Their tattoos, loud laughter, and roaring machines usually made people step aside, whispering warnings and locking doors. But today, destiny was leading them somewhere they didn't expect. To a tiny tea stall on the edge of nowhere, where 2 barefoot kids with tired eyes were about to teach them something no one ever had. CTA first before we continue. If stories of kindness, humanity, and unexpected miracles touch your heart, please like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more real emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. The bikers pulled over, dust swirling around their boots as they parked. Their leader, Raghav, a tall man with a scar on his cheek and eyes that had seen too much, stretched his arms and said, "Let's grab some tea before the next ride. We've got miles to go." The tea stall was small, made of rusted tin sheets, with a cracked wooden counter and 2 benches. A faint smell of boiling milk and cardamom drifted through the air. Behind the counter stood a boy, maybe 10, his hands blackened with soot, carefully stirring a pot of milk. Beside him was his little sister, no older than 6, arranging biscuits neatly in an old tin box. "2 teas," Raghav said, his voice gruff. "Make them strong." The boy nodded quickly, pouring tea into chipped cups, but his hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but exhaustion. The bikers noticed. Their loud chatter softened for a moment as they watched him work. "What's your name, kid?" one of them asked. "Aman," the boy said quietly. "And this is my sister, Mira. Where are your parents?" another biker asked casually. Aman looked down, his lips pressed tight. Mira's small hands froze over the biscuits. The boy finally whispered, "They're gone. Mama and Papa, they went to heaven last year. We run this stall now." The words hung heavy in the air. The laughter died completely. Even the sound of boiling milk felt too loud. Raghav cleared his throat, uncomfortable with the sudden silence. He took the cup from the boy and sipped. "Good tea," he muttered, trying to sound indifferent. But his eyes lingered on the children, their faces thin, their clothes faded, their smiles trying to hide hunger. When the bikers finished, Raghav pulled out a few notes and placed them on the counter. "Keep the change," he said. Aman shook his head quickly. "No, sir, please take your change. We can't take extra." Raghav frowned. "Why not? It's a tip." The boy looked up with innocent eyes and replied softly, "Mama said we must never take what we didn't earn." The simplicity of that sentence hit harder than any speech. The bikers exchanged glances. These kids had nothing, yet they carried more dignity than many grown men. "All right," Raghav said, forcing a small smile. "You're a good boy." He took his change and turned to leave, but as he reached for his helmet, Mira tugged at his jacket. "Uncle," she said in a timid voice, if you know someone who sells milk cheaper, can you tell us? We have to buy some today but don't have enough money. We'll pay tomorrow, but the man at the shop said no credit." Raghav froze. He turned slowly, his eyes narrowing with disbelief. "You're asking to borrow money?" The little girl shook her head. "No, Uncle. We'll work for it. We just need to buy milk for the tea. We'll pay when we grow up if we have to." For a moment the world went silent. The words were so small, so pure, that they cracked something open inside every man standing there. These 2 children, alone in the world, yet full of pride and promise, were asking for nothing but a chance to stand on their own feet. Raghav crouched down in front of them. "You'll pay when you grow up?" he asked softly. "Yes," Aman said. "Papa used to say, people forget debt, but hearts remember kindness. We'll never forget if someone helps us today." Tears stung the eyes of the roughest biker in the group. Another turned away, pretending to check his bike. Raghav swallowed hard, his throat tightening. He had been a street kid once, abandoned, angry, lost. But no one had ever told him words like these. Without a word, he walked to his bike, opened the storage box, and pulled out a small pouch of cash. He returned and placed it gently on the counter. "Here," he said, "for milk, sugar, and whatever you need." Aman shook his head, stepping back. "Uncle, that's too much. We can't take it. It's not a gift," Raghav said firmly. "It's an investment. When you grow up, you'll return it by helping someone else. Deal?" The boy hesitated. Then he slowly nodded. a tiny smile forming on his lips. Deal. That day, the bikers didn't leave immediately. They stayed for hours, helping clean the stall, fix the broken bench, and paint the faded signboard that now proudly read Aman and Mira's Tea Point. Laughter returned, mixing with the smell of boiling tea and fresh hope. Before they left, Mira handed each biker a biscuit wrapped in paper. "So you don't forget us," she said. Raghav took it with trembling hands. "We won't." Months passed. The bikers rode far and wide, but they never forgot the tiny stall or the words of those children. 1 year later, Raghav returned alone. The place was transformed. New benches, fresh paint, a crowd of travelers stopping for tea. Aman, now taller, smiled as he saw the familiar biker. "Uncle Raghav," he called, running to him. Raghav smiled. "You did well, kid. Business is booming." Aman nodded proudly. "Yes, we even started giving free tea to school kids who don't have money. That's our way of paying you back." Raghav's eyes glistened. He looked at the signboard again. This time, it had a new line written under it in careful letters. "Pay for milk. We'll return it when we grow." Those words, once spoken in desperation, had become their promise to the world. CTA second. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who believes in kindness. Subscribe to Whispers of Kindness to keep these real stories of hope and humanity alive. Your support spreads light where it's needed most. Years later, when Aman and Mira grew up, they built a small orphanage beside their tea stall. The sign outside read, "For every child who has no one, there's always a cup of tea, a roof, and a promise waiting." Raghav visited them again, his beard now streaked with gray. He watched the laughter of dozens of children filling the air, the smell of tea and biscuits floating through the wind. And for the first time in years, the biker who once thought tears were for the weak cried openly. Because sometimes, the smallest words, spoken by the smallest hearts, can change the course of a man's life forever.